everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make the glamorous amigurumi eyes. And this, you can use it for any project you're making, of course, but I made this specifically for my ragdoll cat head pattern, and I'm using, of course, blue. This is dolphin blue from Paintbox. These are all cotton yarns, and the post that has written instructions for this is linked below. So first you're going to make your magic ring, and in the post I have 3 different methods listed there, so use the one that you like best. I know some people struggle with a traditional one, so I wanted to give some other options. And you also need a tapestry needle, some sharp scissors, I put this down below, some kind of pet brush or something with these kind of bristles. If you don't have pets and a slicker brush like this, you can use a regular hairbrush. I think even an old toothbrush might work. Something where they're really close so that they can break up the strands of the yarn and make them look a bit softer. So we're going for this kind of look. Alright, so in the instructions you'll see that you should be working 2 single crochet into that first stitch when the round starts again, and into the next 2 after this as well. So 3 sets of 2 single crochet in each stitch. There's one. Black yarn is so challenging to see, isn't it? I very rarely work with it, but it's just for a few stitches. So we'll get through it together. Alright, there it is. Let's get my hook up in there. Make sure you get both stitches on the needle, go all the way under the V. Okay, so this is the 6th one, and before I complete it, I'm going to bring in my eye color. Bring in the blue, leave a little bit of a tail, so we'll need that later on. Do not cut any of your yarn until I indicate that you're at the point in the stitching to do that. Pull this a little bit tighter, and then start working the rest of the way around just like you have been by putting 2 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Hear that squeak? That tight squeeze in those stitches? Okay, so this is 4th. And then the last stitch in the round. 2 stitches. And then before finishing this stitch, I'm going to bring the black yarn back in to complete it. Make sure everything's snug, not super tight. So from here, I'm going to keep the yarn a little bit looser. And then instead of stitching all the way around like we have been, just to keep the yarn moving and to add more shape, we're just going to slip the stitch. So that just adds 1 strand of yarn 6 times. 1, make sure both those loops are on there. Kind of loose. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last one. Oops. And 6. Now the white is going to come in. And we'll slip that around for the remaining stitches over the eye color, the next 6, doing the same thing. Bring it up, slip, get under that stitch. Let me see what's going on here. It should work. It's just a little tight in there. Go. 1, 2, not too tight. Sometimes I'll show you a little trick. My tapestry needle is wider at the top than here. Sometimes I'll just push it through to stretch out the stitch a little bit. I need to. Three. 6. Now I'm going to cut the yarn, leave it a little bit longer. Pull the white all the way through. Put it through my trusty tapestry needle. And I'm going to go under the second black stitch. Make sure I have both loops behind it, pull through, and then come back to the top. And the V right there, go into that, come out in the back. Oh, it's a very tight squeeze with this particular needle. Alright, so from here, we're going to add that little tinkle in the eye. For that, go up to the opposite end in the back. I got one of my own hairs in there. That first full black stitch, go underneath. so that you're getting it right in here under the V. There's a V. Here's a V. So we want it to be right here. You could take some creative license with this, of course. But if you want to replicate what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. There we go. Pull it through. So on the back, see how it's coming up? And under the next V. Pull it through. And I'm going to go around one more time just to make it a little more prominent. Make sure it's in the same spot. And then back through. And there we have our eye. Our eye. And then cut off the other ends. Leave them and have a little length. And we'll secure everything. And work on the lashy part. So match up your colors. Tails, and knot them together snugly, but not so snug that it makes your eye change shape. But enough to secure the ends. Not much is going to bother it once you stitch it onto your project, but until you do, I want to make sure it's nice and snug. 2 knots. And the black strands. Let me get a coin to lay next to this so you can get an idea of the size. Here's a penny. I would say this is closer to the size of a quarter. Next, and here's my other one. Oh, the other direction. I'm going to get to work on those eyelashes to make them glamorous. I'm excited to show you the project trackers I have designed, and I wish I did this years ago because they have been really wonderful to have. So first of all, nice size, fits right into a project bag, and this is the large print. In the front of the large print, I want to show you, there is a true to life 4-inch ruler, so you can check your gauge easily. You don't have to fumble around, look for a ruler. I've used this quite a bit in just the past 4 projects I've used in this book. And there's also small print. And each of these books has sections for small projects, mid-sized, and large projects like blankets. So the small projects, there's 60 stitches, like a dishcloth, something like that. And there's room for notes, and I have space after each stitch that you check off. If you have to put a note, maybe you changed a color, you changed a stitch, you changed your hook, all of that can be in there. Mid-size projects, 180 stitches, and there's room for notes. And then the blanket size, 330 stitches. And then let's compare the large size print, which I need because I have terrible eyes since I was a teenager, compared to the small size. So handy. And of course a link will be available to get these if you want one for yourself. So for the lashes, I'm putting a mat down because I want to protect the surface I'm working on. And I'm going to, this length that I did earlier, it's going to be just a little bit too long. This is about, I wouldn't say 4 inches, that's too long. But if it's too short, it's going to be hard to work with. Let me see if I can do maybe 3-inch length. I'm going to make some loops about that length. Several. And depending how much coverage you want on your eye, I'm just going to be doing it likely in the outer corners. So I don't need a lot, but if you want it to be around the whole top of the eye, do 2 or 3 more strands. You won't need to do a lot because just look how much 2 strands makes quite a bit. Hold it over in relation to the eye. Okay, that's enough. And trim the ends so that these are all just straight strands. So that's 1, 6, 7, 8, thereabouts. And using a different color yarn just so that I know what I'm working with. Let's do white. Let's tie them together. You don't even have to knot it, just to hold them together. And then put all the ends here. Now we're going to just beat them up. Not all the way, this, because we need this for later. But to rough it up, I already roughed up some earlier. My cats are white, that's not pet hair. And I'm just going to start breaking up the fiber with a brush. You can make it as loose and fluffy as you like. The less you do to it, the smoother it's going to look. And I don't want mine too terribly bushy. I think that looks good for my purposes. You can play around with it. You're not going to waste much yarn if you go overboard and have to start again. So let's look at this. Start off last. You can't take it back once you do it, right? So if I just pull out, of course you trim these down once you attach it. I'm going to see how it looks, if that's about how much I want on there, if it looks like it's fluffy enough, flaring out enough. That'll definitely work for what I want. And I'll leave a few more out and show you how it would look if you do a full eye. You can get really glamorous, with a zebra or giraffes have those beautiful long lashes. You can make an elephant look very pretty, and then you trim it around. And when you hairdressers do the point cut, I've attached the lashes to one of the eyes, and I did that using a needle and thread, just really basic black thread, which you probably have on hand if you have a sewing kit, and a needle. I used black because it won't be seen, so I'll be working in the black part of the eye. I'm going to do another one to show you how I put it on here. And I also like using the needle and thread because it gives me a little more control than using yarn. This yarn's so much thicker. Let me just secure this. And once you install it onto your project, you can also reposition the lashes just a little bit. They're always going to be a little bit mobile because they come out, and of course you're going to trim it to the length that you like it. I left mine a little bit long until I install them. And see how they look. Trim that. Alright, so get your distressed yarn, which is now your eyelashes, excuse me. And I have, you don't have to have these, but I have actual hair cutting scissors that I used to go in and do that stylus kind of point so that it wasn't completely straight. I have a little bit of straightness there. You can really customize that look to your doll or animal. Right, so on this one I used 2 strands. I'm going to do the same on the other. I don't like the way this one looks. Just put them together. See, that one I have flared out up at the top, just a bit more than at the bottom. For that cat eye glamour, since these are going on a cat. I'll just play with it, get it to how I like it. And then pinch the end together. Line it up so that it looks similar to the other one. Those are not always twins, just like eyebrows. They're sisters, but we can get pretty close since these are man-made. A little bit shorter. Alright, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put it on the back. Not going too far. Let's move that white thread in. And only working in the area where the black yarn is. I'm going to start working through. Of the strands, make sure that all of them get tacked down really well. Cover the base, and then also work your way up right around here to really make sure that they're secured down and not flapping from the base. It's okay if it's out here that they flutter, but we want them secure to the actual end of the eye. I'm going to come all the way through on this side. Back. Make sure I'm up here and then start working around. Oops, I don't want to work into that little sparkle in the eye. That's a very important little detail. Pull snug, come through. Okay, so that's how you're going to attach your lashes. I'm just going to play with them until they get to how you want them to look. And I'll show you how they look when they're attached to my cat head next.